Hi friends, my name is Nikki and I am the founder of Source Clarity and the host of Source Clarity Podcast. Today I want to help you align with your most wildest dreams. I want to help you attract the things that you're asking for. I'm going to share some experiences in my life that have been wildly life-changing and attracting, our dreams and our goals. We here at Source Clarity, we focus in on ways to harness high levels of clarity, high levels of heart and brain coherence to align with the equanimity, the joy, the purity of who you really are, because it is through that process that you realize your natural vibration, right? You give your natural vibration an opportunity to attract the things that you're asking for. Who you are at your core is love, is unconditional love. So today we're going to focus in on ways to accelerate the process and you attracting the things that you are asking for, and why so many people stay stuck in the same patterns over and over and over again. If you're anything like me, you got really excited in regards to learning about spirituality. You got really excited in regards to learning about creation and attracting the things that you were built to attract in this world. But then you progressed on the adventure that spirituality has to offer. You progressed on the adventure that life has to offer. And you find yourself having these experiences that cause you to feel disappointed over and over again. And it's like, wait a minute, is this really real? And maybe it goes down a far enough rabbit hole where you've experienced some level of spiritual psychosis. We host, side note, we host a community gathering experience out in Austin, Texas. It's a church-like community gathering experience known as Saturday Service. And I was talking with someone, like a new member that was there, about spiritual psychosis and how that's definitely real, to begin overthinking this stuff, right? The stuff in spirituality. It's exciting. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. Well, the question is, why? Why do so many of us get excited, then feel stuck, get excited, and then get stuck? So today, I want to help you overcome, at least I want to help you begin the process in overcoming that stuck feeling as if you are frequently taking two steps, maybe like one step forward, two steps back. Is that the saying? Is that how it goes? Whatever it may be. And one of the reasons for this is to, if we were to put it simply, right, is that to attract your dreams and goals, it's going to require you to let go. It's going to require you to be okay with however the scenario turns out, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? Now, so many of us, we have conditions placed on what we want to manifest in this life. Well, if we are the creators of our reality, and life is a mirror of our energy, and we have this high-level wanting feeling in our energy field, right? We have this high level, I want, this neediness energy. Well, if life mirrors our energy, it's going to reflect back to us our dominant vibration. The feeling of wanting is the feeling of not having. Well, life isn't necessarily blessing or necessarily cursing us. All right, now, overall, life is a blessing, yes, but life is really just a mirror of our energy. It's a mirror of our dominant vibration, mirroring back to us what we feel we deserve. So if I am focused on wanting, and I'm thinking about this thing that I want, maybe it could be in regards to a high frequency romantic relationship. Maybe it can be in regards to optimizing your physical health. Maybe it can be in regards to money. Well, life is just simply going to reflect this energy back to you. And you're going to attract more people and experiences and circumstances that are going to amplify that feeling of wanting from within. So they're going to manifest and play out in all these different kind of ways. Maybe it is in someone putting you second, or money never reaching you in the ways that you would like it to reach you. It's simply going to amplify your feeling of not having, amplify your feeling of wanting. Well, the question is, how do we go about this process in letting go? How do we go about this process in letting go to attract our dreams and goals? We've heard out there in the world, right? Especially in regards to the spiritual world, is like, let go. And it's like, wait, that sounds empowering. That sounds great. But on the other end of it, how do I actually let go? Well, the first thing that I want you guys to begin to understand is the reasoning behind why you want the things that you want in this, why you want the things that you want. Okay, I want to break down why you want the things that you want. Should I say it 5 more times? We're going to break down the reason why you want the things that you want. When I began to understand this, it changed everything for me, because when I first began to manifest, I was simply manifesting based on that initial feeling of wanting. Now remember, wanting, that feeling of wanting equals the feeling of not having. So I began to ask myself this question: how can I actually begin to understand this want, why I want it in the first place? And what I began to realize is that at our core, we are unconditional love, all right? Now, essentially what that means, we are abundant at our core. We are accepting. We realize the perfection of everything at our core. And as we progress on the life adventure, things happen that we experience that cause us to feel disconnected from that love that we are at our core. We have experiences, maybe they happen socially, and they cause us to feel disconnected from our innate brilliance. We have experiences, interaction with family members, and we're keeping things light, right? There's a spectrum of different things that we've, experiences that we could have had in regards to our family dynamic or social environment. And we absorbed the energy of our environment. And we took on these limiting beliefs of the self that cause us to feel disconnected from the purity of who we really are, that cause us to feel disconnected from our intuitive intelligence, that cause us to feel disconnected from our true soul pulls, P-U-L-L-S. And as we progressed on the adventure that life has to offer, the way the world is set up, the world is designed to funnel us into one way of doing things. And if you were to attempt to judge a fish's intelligence by its ability to climb a tree, you would think that that fish is an idiot, right? And so I know that a lot of you watching or seeing this or listening to this have seen that meme out there in the world on the internet somewhere. Like if you were to judge a fish's intelligence by its ability to climb a tree, you'd be like, this fish has no intelligence, until you judge its intelligence by its ability to swim and things of that nature. Well, a lot of us are funneled into one ways of doing things, and our intelligence is measured by these one way of doing things. And it doesn't actually give us an opportunity to realize our brilliance, realize our intelligence, realize our love, realize our purpose. So this causes us to feel deficient in love. And this deficiency of love causes us to attract more of a life experience that reflects back this low level love, right? Instead of finding ways to put ourselves first, practicing the high frequency ways to put ourselves first and get our self-love way high and all these other things, we start to put ourselves second. Well, when we put ourselves second, life is going to reflect this back to us. We're going to attract more people and experiences, right, that amplify that feeling that we don't prioritize ourselves. So we're going to attract people that don't prioritize ourselves. We're going to feel like money does not prioritize us. We're going to feel like our career, our purpose, and all these other things. And as you can see where I'm going with this causes us to have emotional imbalances. This causes us to develop emotional wounds and things of that nature. Well, what happens when we have these emotional imbalances and these emotional wounds? It sort of hijacks the spirit, the true you. Let's say you have a true essence of who you really are. That emotional imbalance, it hijacks our connection with what we truly desire to attract. And one of the ways that I've kind of separated the difference between what our spirit wants and what our ego wants is I kind of said, one of the ways that I've prefaced it, and I don't preface it this way as much anymore, but it's sort of like your spirit has desires, and your human self or the ego has these wantings. And now more so, instead of desire, I say pulls. You have this highest expression of who you really are, your higher self. And this higher self has pulls. It has pulls to go after certain things that are going to contribute to increasing the frequency and vibration of your life and the planet. And these pulls, if we follow these pulls, bigger picture, they're going to bring us our highest levels of happiness. But if I don't feel high level of joy in my life, if I don't feel a high level of love for who I am in my life, the ego, in its attempt to protect us, right? The ego is looking for a quick fix. It's going, you know what, make this decision, okay? And the decision might be go out and party when my higher self or my spirit self, my core self isn't pulled to go do that. Maybe it is for someone, just in this example, okay? So I go out and party, and maybe I engage with maybe in this story, let's say it's Billy Bob, okay? Billy Bob's feeling deficient in love just because the way that the world is designed and set up. Billy Bob has these pull to feel a high level of passion and things of that nature. Instead, the ego's attempt to protect Billy Bob goes out and goes to a party, and through a artificial way to create a high, maybe engages with like alcohol or some sort of drug or whatever it may be. And Billy Bob's like, great, this is the feeling that I was looking for. Now, there might be some short-term joy, but it's going to create everything in this universe is a trade-off. That is going to create more long-term problems, more long-term obstacles, more long-term challenges versus giving ourselves the challenge in the front end and going from there and creating fulfillment and joy on the outside. So what I'm getting at with this is the first thing to begin attracting your dreams and your goals and accelerating the process and attracting high level of success is understanding why we want the things that we want. If you are really attracted to a human being, you're physically attracted to them, and it causes you to feel that wanting feeling, not necessarily an excitement, a spirit pull, a connection. I'm talking about more like I really want to be with this person I find attractive. It could be physical attraction, it might be mental or emotional or spiritual attraction that you have. And all of a sudden you kind of start to hyper obsess with them. That person is simply reflecting something in your life. They're simply reflecting where you feel a lack of attraction to one or more of the 8 different areas of your life. Yes, we have 8 different areas of your life. We go into more of the 8 different areas in other episodes, but they're things like spiritual, things like passion/hobby, vocation, your family, and all these other things. So they're simply reflecting where you feel a lack of attraction in your own life. And a lot of people think, let me just visualize myself with this person. Okay, which, visualization is great. Okay, this is not me downplaying the significance and the benefits of visualizing, but it's more so, it's gonna feel really difficult. You're gonna feel really stuck, okay, and attracting what you're asking for if you haven't addressed the reason why you feel like you can't have what you have in the first place. So you start to ask yourself this question, okay? I'm really attracted to this person. It's causing me to feel like a high level of wanting for them. Why? That's the first thing to begin to understand. If we can begin to look in and go, you know what? This is actually reflecting my lack of attraction in my own life. This is when things actually can begin to change and transform with us, because this is how we align with the frequency and vibration of who we really are. Who you are at your core is unconditional love. Unconditional love means all the amazing attributes you can possibly think of. So you're aligning with your magnetism from within. You're aligning with your high levels of attraction within. And when you feel attractive in your life, when you feel you're attracted to the different areas of your life, like a passion hobby, like your business and all these other things, now the things that you'll begin to attract, because life is reflecting our dominant vibration, is you are feeling an alignment with, if we're using partnership as an example, romantic partnership as an example, if you attract someone you're attracted to, you're now a frequency and vibrational match to have them in your life in a way that is beneficial. But if we do not address why we want what it is we want in the first place, and again, specifically what I mean by wanting is the wanting feeling where it causes us to maybe obsess a little bit, and you start to think about them all the time. And then the brain goes, maybe if I think about them all the time, maybe I'll attract them in the way that I desire, because manifesting is thinking about your dreams and goals. All that's doing, it's creating, it's just amplifying the illusion. It is a state of hypnosis. Truly, when you know you can attract the things that you desire, you don't necessarily think about them all the time. You already feel like you have them. And the example that I share pretty frequently is like, how often have you, how often have you attracted something in your life that you did not want, right? The reason you attracted it is because you were a frequency match to attract it. It wasn't because you were obsessing and thinking about it all the time. Now, there's a difference between, let's say you're looking to attract someone in your life that you are attracted to and you would like them to be attracted to you. There are benefits to thinking about all the times, ways to look in internally and make the shifts and all that. But when you're obsessively thinking about the person, or you're obsessively thinking about money, and feeling like you can't have it, that is the sort of underlying current that is woven into the fabric of your frequency and vibration, which is I don't have, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. There's this illusion that is compounding and growing and expanding within the mind going, this means that I'm closer to attracting it. This means I'm closer to attracting it. And then all of a sudden, you're faced with this situation where you think you're about to attract it, and then all of a sudden you don't, and you're like feeling crushed or whatever it may be. So I'm sharing this with you guys because this is something that has changed my life in ways that is almost difficult to articulate. It's something that most people missed in regards to creation, attracting a life that is in accordance with joy, abundance, and things of that nature. There are ways that we have to accelerate the process in you attracting a high level of success, but if we do not lay the groundwork, if we don't develop some level of mastery over the fundamentals, it's going to be really difficult to attract what you desire, because it's sort of like attempting to realize what you actually desire. It'd be like, swimming through muddy water. But if you can purify your relationship with the self by creating emotional clarity, what do I mean by that? Well, it's purifying our wanting. It's questioning, do I actually want this? Or do I want it for validation? Do I want this person that I think I'm attracted to so that they will validate me? Do I want this person? Do I want money in my life because I think it'll allow me to feel more free? Well, if that's the case, the question that you can begin to ask the self is, where do I not feel free in my life, right? Money represents a feeling of value, of safety, security. So if you're looking to attract something like a lot of money, right, and you're feeling that wanting feeling, there's a difference between a pull and a desire, and this feeling of wanting like you don't have. If the feeling's there of wanting, I really want a lot of money, okay? The more that you focus on the wanting, the more that feeling's going to amplify. But if you can start to ask yourself the question, why do I want the money? It's a feeling. Okay, what are the feelings? What are the feelings that I would like to feel from the money? Well, I guess I'd like to feel safe. I guess I'd like to feel secure. I guess I'd like to feel abundant. Is it possible that I could feel that right now in a completely different area of my life? Is it possible that safety resides within me? Is it possible that through a meditation practice, through breath work, through working out the physical body, exercising, strengthening the physical body, right, through things like cardio, through engaging with a passion hobby, can I experience that freedom that I'm looking money to bring me? Is that actually possible? And if we can begin to identify where we're feeling a deficiency of love, a deficiency of freedom, if we're using the example of money, this is where things really begin to change in these really beautiful ways. It is almost difficult to articulate how perfect our lives are in so many ways that we aren't even realizing. And the ego, in its attempt to protect us, and the only way that the ego knows how is a quick fix. It's going to find these quick fix resolutions in order to protect us. But ultimately, it's not the thing that's actually going to protect us, bigger picture. It's not the thing that's actually going to protect us and aligning with our dreams and our goals, because that's not necessarily what the ego was built for. But we have an intuitive intelligence that resides within each and every one of us. Now, a gift is only a gift. A gift is just a gift if it's left, unattended to. Okay? Now, having a highly accurate intuitive signal is strengthening the relationship with the intuitive self. We have all the ways to do that in our advanced offerings. But I want you guys to start by this understanding, laying the groundwork, laying the fundamentals, and understanding that the first step in getting the things that you're asking for and accelerating your success, sort of looking in that mirror, sort of having that hard conversation with the self and going, okay, to attract what I'm asking for and accelerating my success, it's going to require me to let go. Well, I've heard this let go word pretty frequently. Well, what's it going to take for me to let go? Well, maybe I'm going to have to realize that the things that I want in my life, I don't even necessarily really want them, right? It's more so I don't feel special and unique in my own life. I don't feel a high level of love in my own life. I don't feel an excitement for the things that I'm engaging with in my own life. Maybe I can start to engage with these things a little bit better. Maybe I can start to engage with my life a little bit more. I remember when I was in high school, I remember there was this one little season in my life where I started to eat a little bit more sugar than I would have liked. And it was kind of a smaller season in my life that sticks out to me because it stands out in my mind because I remember I was engaging with sugar and things of that nature, and I started to become aware of these laws of the universe. And I started to realize that life is a reflection of our energy. And so if I'm having sugar cravings to a high degree, it is reflecting my own lack of passion, joy for my own life. And so instead of trying to stop cold turkey of eating a lot of sugar, what I began to engage with was simply more joy in regards to my social life, feeling more joy in regards to my social life. And when I began to feel more joy for my social life, I started to feel those sugar cravings decrease. And then I loved the way that I felt. So I started to ask myself this question: what are other areas of my life that I'm feeling a low level of joy for, right? The only reason I was having sugar cravings in the first place is because I was feeling a lack of joy. That's the thing I was looking to extract from the sugar, was the joy. So I started to engage more. It was playing the guitar and singing more and writing more songs that I felt were a little bit more joyful. And through that process, things began to change. I literally started to get like not repulsed by sugar, but I was blown away by how me engaging with more of my life in a way that I wanted sugar to engage with me, meaning feeling more joy, feeling more high and all these things, how my cravings for sugar began to go down, right? And a lot of us have these cravings in regards to sugar, in regards to scrolling on social media, and then we attempt to stop and we go right back. And the reason why so many people get stuck in things like scrolling on social media or habits that they would like to overcome and let go of is because we're not aware of why we have the craving in the first place. And it's because we feel that deficiency of love. We feel a lack of value in our own lives. We feel a lack of our own brilliance or feeling special and unique. We feel a lack of freedom in our own lives. And the truth is that Source put us in the positions that we are in our lives where we do have the capacity to make the change that we're looking to change. It's going to attract more of the things that we're asking for. Now, what I mean by this is you might be listening to this and you're like, okay, dude, I'm starting to understand why I have these high-level wantings or these high-level cravings in my life, and they're actually pushing away me attracting my dreams and goals, or pushing away the things that I would like to manifest, is me engaging and focusing on this wanting feeling. But you're like, I don't really necessarily have the money to engage with a passion and a hobby. Let's say you would like to skydive or something. You're like, I think that feeling of skydiving would bring about the joy I'm looking for, or all these other things. Here's the truth. You have the ability to engage with your life in the way that it is right now that's going to increase the frequency and vibration of your life. Meaning, if you don't have enough money to do the thing that you would like to do, there's another way to extract the feeling that you would like to feel in regards to how you would, I'm getting tongue twisted here. You can feel the feelings in your own life right now, the feelings that you would like the thing you want to bring you. Again, if you really want to optimize your health and you're like, I don't necessarily have the funds to fund a healthy lifestyle. Okay, great. Do you have the capacity to create higher levels of spiritual health, meaning through meditation? Do you have the ability to eat your food and tell your body that the food going in your body, I don't care if it's fast food, is going to process this food in the most beautiful way, right? Because speaking to our food, there's all the science that is catching up to this, actually makes the food healthier for the body, right? So are there ways to create a healthier lifestyle if you don't feel like you can actually fund a healthier lifestyle right now? The question is absolutely yes. And the example that I used earlier, we've been doing a lot, y'all, so just bear with me here if I did or did not talk about this in the beginning. I'd be really embarrassed if I did or did not. But when I first created my business, I don't think I did. Did I talk about this? I don't think I did. When I first created my business, I was sort of off to the races. And a lot of you have heard the story. When I opened my first offerings, no one joined and all these things. And I'm trying to figure out what was going on. And I hired someone to help me and things went really well. But I got a little ahead of myself and then I started to hire more people than I was ready for. And I'm sharing this with you guys because I was paying way more than I should have been paying. I wasn't optimizing certain things in my business. And I looked at it intuitively and I saw this would not be sustainable if I kept going. So I'd actually let everybody go from my business. And I actually began to become my own assistant. I began to learn all the ways of my business. Well, when I engaged with this and really stuck with it, right, just did all the things that I had access to, all the things I had the ability to do, being my own assistant, learning about websites, building my own website, learning how to communicate with clients and our community in a really amazing way through the emails and stuff like that. I got really good at it, okay? Months and months and months and months and months and months and months went by. Many months went by, okay? Maybe even in years, okay? And then from that place, I was able to attract an amazing team. And I'm sharing this with you because a lot of the times, let's say we're using business as an example, we might, the ego might have these excuses like, well, I don't have the money right now to hire a team to help me. I don't really have X, Y, and Z to help me. This, that, and the other. Well, the first person that I hired was an exchange scenario. I said, hey, you'll get a percentage of all the people that we get in this paid for offering. And it worked out really well, meaning I had all the things, even if my mind wouldn't allow me to see it, I had all the things that was going to create the shift. And I'm sharing this with you because the mind is going to come up with reasons why we are not integrating the tools that we have to the highest degree. And I share this frequently with people, all the time, which is like, we have these tools that we've learned in our lives, these high frequency tools. And if we're not integrating them to the highest degree, it's going to be difficult when receiving the high frequency stuff that, is in other places. Do you think that we're going to handle that a little bit differently? It's sort of like, I remember I had a friend and they really wanted a new car. And I was looking at their car and I'm kind of like, well, your car is really messy. Your car is filthy. And all these other things, right? Just keeping it real with them. And I'm like, how do you think you're going to treat your other car once you get your new car? Like, do you think it's all of a sudden going to change? And they were like, oh my gosh, you're so right. Because I said this with my last car, didn't treat this car the same way. And it's sort of like the way that we treat one thing is how we treat other things. So going back to what I'm getting at here, when you have a high level of wanting, the reason why you want it is for a feeling. You want to feel something. You want to feel, if we were to generalize, you want to feel more love. You want to feel more special, more unique, more valuable. The mind is going to go to this place of like, I don't know if I have the resources. I don't know if I have the finances to actually feel that feeling in other areas of my life. That is an illusion from the brain. Source does not put us in positions that we cannot get out of. So, you have this capacity in your life to go, where can I feel more love right now? Where am I underutilizing the tools that I have learned right now? Now, for all of you guys that are watching, that are listening to this, okay, this is just the tip of the iceberg. But if you can begin to lay the foundation in your life to the highest degree, take the information that you have learned, integrate it to the highest degree, this is where profound shifts can begin to happen. You're giving yourself an opportunity to make amazing shifts in your life. It is understanding this law of the universe that life is a reflection of our energy. Life is simply mirroring back to us how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about our relation to the 8 different areas of our life. And if I am feeling a high level of joy about myself, I'm most likely going to be attracting more experiences that reflect back that joy to me. If I feel like I really, really, really want something in my life, well, the ego is going to lie to me. And all of a sudden, I'm going to be engaging with all of these illusions of how the brain is going to go, if you think about this person all the time or you think about money all the time, you're going to attract it. But I want you to think about your own life when someone really needed something from you. You could feel it, right? Like let's just be real here. Like, you could probably feel that needy energy, whether it was a parent, whether it was a friend, whether it was a teacher, maybe you were on a date, maybe someone had a crush on you and there was this needy feeling. They didn't even give you an opportunity to fully crush on them back. I remember, man, look, I got to find some more stories like recently in my life, but we're going back to high school again, okay? I remember when I was in high school, and this was right around when I had this awakening in my life. I was like 16. I share that with y'all like frequently. I felt like I had what was this spiritual awakening in my life. And what was really cool about this is that my social life completely flipped on its head. I went from feeling like I had a couple of different friends to all of a sudden I began to realize that life is like a video game, that we have this higher self that is playing this earth, this physical, this human experience like a video game. My higher self is playing this human experience like a video game. So if I'm someone that has a lack of social abundance and I identify with that, all the thoughts that I'm going to attract and think are going to be associated with someone that has a lack of social abundance. So all of a sudden, I became aware of this. And I began to realize, I began to see myself as someone who is socially abundant. And I began to find ways to let go, remember our favorite word, of wanting social abundance. Really, really cool. I had these two friends. I've shared this story before, but I'm going somewhere different, okay? Had these two friends, and I remember I would walk through, so I had this one friend, really tall. One friend is like a skater. They're complete opposites. My one friend, he didn't care what people thought. He was like the dude walking down the halls, pointing at people. He was friends with everybody, whatever it may be. And I remember, because I only had those two friends, during lunch, a bunch of kids would all hang out with each other in groups, the popular kids and all these things. They'd all be in the cafeteria. And I would beg my friends, I was like, can we please not walk through the cafeteria? I don't want to be seen with just us three. I was super insecure and all these things. And my one buddy was like, dude, it literally doesn't matter. But he was so very himself, and also didn't care that I did not want to walk through the cafeteria. He was cool with it. He accepted it. So now I turned 16 and I have this awakening. And I begin to identify with someone who is socially abundant. And all of a sudden I begin to attract the thoughts of someone who is socially abundant. And I started to legitimately see it differently, that I had two friends. I went, wow, I'm so socially abundant that we are the cool group, okay? And we sat on this little green bench area, okay? Me, my really tall friend, and my other friend that was my other friend. He was really cool. And I started to see it differently. Nothing changed, but my wanting changed, okay? Meaning nothing on the outside necessarily changed, but my wanting began to change. And all of a sudden, we began to attract people like this green little bench. People began to leave their groups and come hang out with us. And it became this thing of we would go to this green little bench area, and all of a sudden, people that did have social abundance, they thought we were cool because we didn't care, and we would hang out with them. And literally, it felt like overnight, my social life changed. When I let go of the wanting of it, I realized that it wasn't the social abundance that I necessarily wanted. It was that feeling of feeling seen for who I really am. It was the feeling of freedom, or the capacity to be myself. So I started to feel more like myself. Now, here's what's really interesting. I don't know how much I'm going to share here. Well, let's just get into it. Screw it. I remember then I attracted this pretty and this really popular girl to start crushing on me. And I remember her high level of wanting for me to crush on her back was extremely high. It was like 11 out of 10. Meaning it got out there throughout a lot of the kids in the high school knew about it, all these other things. And she was a really good friend of mine. And we hung out basically every day. She had a big crush on me, all these things. We had a friend group and all these other things. I love how I'm getting all nervous talking about this, even though it's not a big deal. Okay. But bear with me, y'all. Challenging myself to share new stories, even though I probably shared this story before. So anyway, she had a big crush on me, all these other things. A year goes by, okay? And her high level of wanting for me to crush on her back was so high that I couldn't necessarily, at least in that moment with the tools that I have, crush on her back. And it was funny because objectively, I really liked her. I really thought she was pretty and all these other things. But her wanting for me to be in her life in the way that she would like me to be, it was so high that the reality that she was experiencing, or the reality that she was creating, was me not having a crush on her romantically back. Now, a year goes by, and I remember she basically told me, she's like, I'm going to let you go. And I remember thinking kind of little about it at that time. It wasn't even within 48 hours, my mind starts racing, going, wait, do I have a crush on her back? And all of a sudden, she begins to date someone that I know really well. Now, all of a sudden, I'm starting to feel this influx of feelings, all these hormones with Nikki's almost 17-year-old self. I'm like, do I have a crush on her back? Oh my gosh, does she not like me? All these other things, I'm starting to feel that she's way more magnetic. I'm starting to see her in this whole new light. Do you guys get what I'm getting at here? Meaning, all of a sudden, she lets me go. And all of a sudden, I'm questioning my decision that I made over this year. I'm questioning my own opinion that I had about her over the year. I'm questioning my own, I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I do have a crush on her and things of that nature. And there's so many different experiences that I've had like this, whether it's in regards to business, whether it's in regards to Nikki's dynamic with a crush when he's 16, whether it is in regards to money, whether it's in regards to health. When we really, really want something, we're really, really pushing it away. And I've had people that, have had that experience with me, are really, really wanting a crush-like feeling and pushing that away. So the question is, how do we overcome this? Well, the first thing I want you guys to understand is the body is literally addicted to those obsessive thoughts that cause us to feel negative. It is addicted to feeling negative because technically that has kept you safe. So let's say you are having a crush on someone, or you are really, really wanting someone to like you back. The brain is going to obsess with it because technically it feels safe. Technically, right? Not feeling safe has kept you safe. Technically, crushing on that person and wanting them to be in your life in a certain way has kept you safe, has kept you alive, even if you're not feeling safe. So that ego is going to go, let's keep hyper fixating on this, right? But if we can begin to realize that life is a video game, we attract what we're a vibrational match for. The idea is to get to a place where legitimate freaking we are okay with whatever the outcome is. We are good, whatever the outcome is. That is what true source faith is, right? Developing a high level of source clarity, developing a high level of source faith is knowing that if this doesn't work out, there's something better for me. If you have a crush on another human being, if you have feelings for another human being, and you really want this human being to like you back, okay? To attract them in your life the way that you desire, it's not to, in some cases, especially if you're a man, not to pursue that person and not to take aligned actions, but it's to emotionally be okay with whatever the outcome is and knowing that there is always something better for you on the horizon. A message that is embedded into all of our offerings, whether it's, our podcast, whether it's Saturday service, whether it's our Creating Clarity webinars, these are our free offerings, whether it's our advanced offerings like sessions and stuff like that. The underlying theme embedded into all these things is that life is happening for us. And if you have a high level of wanting for something in your life, you really want something to work out and you're pushing it away. One thing that I have found wildly beneficial in my life is to go, you know what? Even my feeling of wanting is teaching me something wildly valuable. And that lesson is aligning me with something my spirit deeply is pulled to attract into this lifetime. And I give myself some grace. If I've ever experienced the feeling like someone was rejecting me, I went, you know what? That's just data for me. That is just data. It's an opportunity for me to purify the relationship with the self. It's an opportunity to get to know myself on a deeper and deeper level. And through that process, it has strengthened my relationship with a source level faith. Now, when we use the word source in here, we're referring to wherever you believe we come from. You can think of source as a filler word for wherever you believe we come from, that source energy, that parent energy. So developing a high level of a source level faith, it's going to require us to kind of take that Maya, what we call in this community, a messy, aligned, intuitive action, and knowing that, it's gonna take maybe a little bit of time to get that wanting down, to get our wanting for money down, for our career to work out in the way that we want it down. But we can actually begin this process by looking at the other areas of life and seeing if we can give ourselves that feeling that we would like the thing that we value most to bring us, whether it be a crush, whether it be money, whether it be health. There's so many different cases of people that were in these extreme, experiencing extreme and radical obstacle in regards to their sickness or their disease. And they went into meditation. They began to create spiritual health, right? They began to harness a high level of spiritual health. They began to harness a high level of mental health. They began to harness a high level of health in regards to other areas of their life, like engaging with physical activity and things of that nature. And they have these profound stories where the body began to heal. They let go of depending on the body to feel healthy. And they begin to ask themselves the question, where can I begin to feel healthy in other areas of life? Now, life is so beautiful because it's always showcasing to us the sort of doorway that's going to bring us more clarity or more of the thing that we value, right? So here's what's really cool. I've taken almost 10 years at this point to develop my intuition. It is the work that I do. For those that are new here, I'm an intuitive healer. And simply what that means is I read energy for a living. Basically, I look at people's life from a bird's eye view and help them identify how to get from where they are now to where they desire to be in the most effective and efficient way. I'm essentially a trained psychic. Now, what's really interesting is that looking through the intuitive lens, you will see that each of us has a purpose that is instilled within us by source energy. And all the things that we are pulled to engage with, whether they are passion hobbies like learning the piano, whether they are, expanding our perspectives and consciousness in regards to spirituality, whether they're engaging with certain people like friends that we connect with, they are all bringing us closer to the purpose that we were destined to create in this life. And it's really cool because that life, aligning with what we could call the higher self path or the destiny source instilled within you, it's the life that brings us our highest levels of happiness. It's the life that brings us our highest levels of joy, equanimity, and peace, okay? What's really great is that most people have this question. They go, how do I know the next thing I need to do to align me with that destiny, the life that's going to bring me the most amount of joy, fulfillment, and things of that nature? And the thing that I share with them is I go, identify either your current obstacle or identify the thing that you really want right now and see to the best of your ability. Ask yourself, how can I begin to feel the feelings I would like this thing that I want to bring me? If it's an obstacle, right? Let's say you attracted an obstacle where, someone flipped you off while you were, such a random obstacle, while you were driving down the street and you're like, I don't want to feel that way. Well, what is it that you would have liked to have felt from them? Is it seen? Is it understood? What would you have had to feel in order for that person flipping you off not to bother you? And the really beautiful thing looking through the intuitive lens is that the obstacles that happen, if we can see them as that they had to happen for us to get what we desire, this is going to decrease our wanting for things. It's going to allow us to let go and to begin the process in attracting the things that we are asking for. So to accelerate the process and attracting the things that we're asking for, how do we go about this process? We let go. This is just one of the ways to begin that process. Now, what's wildly beneficial to understand is that this is only the tip of the iceberg, okay? We get way deeper into this, into different spaces and things of that nature. One of the ways that you can go further with this is we have something that is free known as our Creating Clarity. Our Creating Clarity webinars, all right? You can join for free. It's an opportunity to ask me questions. I'm an intuitive. So in our Creating Clarity webinars, I answer intuitive questions about your life and things of that nature. We have Q&As and all of that. We have other podcasts. We have our Saturday service podcast where we go even deeper. And we have a lot of ways to begin this process of aligning with what you're built to create in this lifetime. It's really beautiful. If you're watching this, most likely you are here to change the world in the way that only you can. You guys listening and watching this are the ones that are destined to take this information and make it 10 times better. So if you're looking to go a step further with all of this, we have all these free things in the show notes. Bam, 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 bam. So I couldn't encourage you enough to go look in the show notes. You can secure your spot for the Creating Clarity webinar. And we have a free Access Your Intuition workshop. We have all these amazing things. Okay, so that is that. And for all of you watching and listening to this, thank you. Thank you for being on this planet. Thank you for listening to this episode of Source Clarity. Thank you for taking the time, especially if you made it this far. What a wonderful thing that you made it this far. All right, friends, you're so wild. You're so wonderful. You're so wild. I don't know. It sounded a little bit cliche and corny. You're so wild. Okay. You're wild. You're wonderful. You're beautiful. Okay. All these things. All right. Alrighty, friends. Thank you for listening to this episode of Source Clarity Podcast. Stay awesome and authentic.